There are times in our lives that we stumble on the path, but the Lord always catches us before we fall. William Lee Golden is one of the most recognized personalities in country and gospel music, having earned the highest accolades as the member of the legendary group the Oak Ridge Boys. With 40 million records sold, 5 Grammy Awards, 10 Dove Awards, and the list goes on and on. In 2011, they were inducted into the Grand Ole Opry and the Music Hall of Fame. In 2011, they were inducted into the Grand Ole Opry and the Gospel Music Hall of Fame. But during his 40s, William went through profound changes emotionally, spiritually, and physically when he felt 4 walls closing in. This is his story. This is today's Nashville. This is Faith, Part 2. William, here we are again.
We are. Welcome back to our home, Terry.
Well, thank you. You know, the last time we spoke, we ended on you were reunited with the Oak Ridge Boys. But before we go there, I want to take you back, because you were gone for 8 years?
Yeah.
Tell me about those 8 years that you were gone from the Oaks.
It was a time that I actually got to spend with my family. You know, I traveled over 200 days a year for 22 years with the Oak Ridge Boys at the time. That was in 1987 that I was voted out. You know, if you look at life, sometimes things that seem bad on one side, they have a good side on the other side if you look for it. And it was an opportunity for me to spend time with my family, my sons, that I had never had a chance to spend that much time with them as young men. You know, growing up, little boys is one thing, but then
how old were they then?
It was a time that I was divorced, and I was a bachelor for a while, and then I remarried, and then that didn't work out. So sometimes being on the road can be hard on some relationships. And anyhow, it was a time that I was able to spend with my sons and make music together and to travel together. They were recording songs. I was recording solo albums. And we would travel together and sing songs. And they would play music for me and sing with me, and I would applaud from the side of the stage when they were performing. So it was time as young men that I cherished that time that I got to spend with my sons, because as a father, you know, you sometimes worry about what kind of an impact or an influence you might have had or not had with your family, with the kids, and later grandkids. You know, I had grandkids at that time, so it was a time to spend, to get to know my sons, and my sons to know me as a man. I mean, and we worked together, sang together, and traveled together. To me, those were the treasured times in my life. It was a time that I still cherish, you know, because it made me appreciate their true talents even more as young men, and talented, because they all got different talents. Their mother's family were all real talented. And as I look back on it, that was probably the love and appeal that her family had on me, that I enjoyed being with people that we shared the same love for music and singing. But anyhow, my sons grew up in that atmosphere, and they grew up as young boys and adolescents with me being gone from home 200 days a year. And so for them to have basically, I have to give their mother credit for being a stable part in their life.
You know, I love how you honored her in your
Yeah.
book. And I love how God restored that, you know, everything that was lost came back around
Yeah.
during this 8 years. It's a great story.
You know, I love all my wives that I've had. It's just because of my faults at times. I've had to live with my own misgivings and unfaithfulness to my wives at different times.
You know, that's another thing in your book. You took all the blame for that. You took it all on you. And a lot of people don't do that. And you really looked at yourself and said, you know, a lot of it was my fault.
Most of it was my fault. And I cannot blame any of my faults on my wives or my ex-wives because my faults were not their faults. And that's something that I have to live with, you know, because the mothers of my sons are the ones, they're the unsung heroes because they were there for my sons when I was not there. And they raised them in a way that I'm so proud, you know, because my sons have never gotten off into bad trouble. Certainly no more than I did, being mischievous and having fun, you know. So, but yeah, it's the mothers are to be given the real credit for what they've done to raise my sons. And I certainly don't want to allow my shortcomings and misgivings to be reflected on my wives or former wives or the mothers of my sons. Mm-hmm. And I'll take the blame for whatever mistakes I've made, and it's something that I live with and that I will, but I certainly don't blame anyone else for my mistakes.
The Lord got a hold of your heart too during this time, didn't he?
Yeah, it's, you know, family is an important thing. And my youngest son, Solomon, he lives in Texas with his mother now. And it's a heart-wrenching thing to be that far apart and out of touch with your young son that you were so close when he was tender and young and growing up. And he's 20 now. And will be 21 next month. Strained relationship some with the distance that we have, and it's been hard to communicate with him the way I would love to.
But you know, I think God will take care of that. He's done an
I trust that.
You know, he's doing amazing things in your life.
Yeah,
and,
he does.
You know, with this 8 years, William Golden and the Goldens came out. And we're going to talk about that when we come right back.